All right, welcome back, everybody, to a a beautiful start to this discussion debate, if you would. We're here today with Justin Wong, Mr. Fuzzy Otterballs, along with Sharp, professional gamer, and a new and upcoming great addition to the YouTube community, Mr. Aviator. How's everybody doing?
Howdy, howdy.
Doing good.
Hello.
So this conversation, so far in the YouTube community, we've seen nothing but hate for this new playlist that's been added, thanks to a lot of I don't even know what to say. Basically David Vonderhaar, I don't know if I'm saying the name right, showed up at a Dallas MLG event and was impressed with how the game was played at such a high level. He was impressed with the community and how it was, run and shaped, formed, and he just had a really great time. So he took that back to, what he does and decided to incorporate that into a playlist and help our community grow. Where do you guys stand on that part of the discussion?
Well, because I have a feeling that Justin Wong will go on about this for quite a while, or Fuzzy Otterballs will. I want to talk about this just for 1 minute. It's actually kind of interesting because I'm not an MLG player at all. I'm actually more of a pub stomper, if anything. I suck at game battles. I'm working on getting better, but I suck. And I have to say, this is an amazing opportunity for Call of Duty players, particularly those in the YouTube scene, people who watch Call of Duty videos, people who kind of discuss the idea of getting better at this game. By the way, for those of you who don't know my voice, this is Eric, also known as Aviator. That's who I am. That's me. But for those of us who love the game and love to get better at the game and love to play well, have a team, don't have a team, whatever, this is a great opportunity for people to come together in a playlist that really removes the BS, basically. It gets rid of all the stuff that we hate about the game. Second chance, noob tubes, the things that are awful about most Call of Duty games, it destroys them. It makes them a non-issue. And anyone who believes that this is a problem, and mind you, I do have a couple counterpoints. I've been talking to some friends and whatnot, and they really dislike the idea of creating more playlists because they feel like it dilutes the community and it makes it tougher to find games and whatnot. And I understand that, particularly if you live in Africa, it's got to be tough to find local games. But I live in Florida, and I can get a game in like a second. It's easy, all right? So with that in mind, like having the opportunity to play against players who, A, know the game, B, care about the games they're playing, and C, are willing to put it all on the line, put their stats on the line to play MLG variant playlists, I think that's really freaking awesome. I am truly excited about it. It's a really unique thing, and I don't think it's ever been done in any game to date. Halo doesn't do it. Gears certainly doesn't do it. There's
Halo
nothing
does
out
do
there.
it, actually.
Does Halo do it? I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Halo's
That
where it
was
started.
Halo 3.
All right. Well, in that, I'll just be quiet and hide in the corner now for a while. So, all
Yeah. Oh, I'm the one who's goes on about it, huh?
yeah, you know.
Yeah. Hey,
Go
so
ahead, guys.
Sharp is an MLG pro.
Yeah.
So you guys don't know who he is.
Literally an MLG pro, by the way. Not just one of those guys who says he is.
Yeah,
He's not a white
actual
boy. He's actually an
pro
MLG
status.
pro.
Weren't you the COD 4 champion and Modern Warfare 2 national champion, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
Mostly online. I don't know.
tell us your accomplishments and whether you've been playing the playlist. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I won COD 4 nets and I won online MW2 nets, but yeah, I mean, I've been playing the playlist, and like me and Moho, we actually had the chance to talk to David Vonda here, whatever his name is, and like pretty much the first thing he told us is that he wanted to expand MLG into Call of Duty, and he really wanted to like show kids that play just like regular play pubs like what MLG is, and I think this is the like his first step of doing that. Because I mean, I go into the MLG playlist, and then there's just kids that you'd find in an S&D game, and then you go in here, and then they're actually calling stuff out. Like you actually hear call outs, which I think it's a good idea.
I definitely.
I think it's fantastic. Yeah. Have you been playing it, Doc?
I have been, and it's a lot of fun. It's brought my interest back to, just being able to hop on without a team, just grab a quick game in between doing something else, maybe rendering a video. I got nothing else to do for 30 minutes, so I don't need a team now. I can just hop into the competitive playlist, have a couple good games without wanting to bash my skull into the ground from somebody's camping in a corner with motion sensor or claymore or something like that. It brings together like-minded people who normally join other game types, other playlists, who are objective minded, who can't seem for the life of them to find other objective-minded players in the random lobbies. This kind of has forced everybody, or not really forced, but it's gave them an opportunity to get into the lobbies where other people are looking to do the same thing. When I join a domination game, half the people are going for massive kill streaks and trying to get their KD up. When I join the competitive playlist just randomly, I've been thrown into games where, like Sharp said, callouts are happening. People are working together towards the objective, not just sitting down, going after kills, which is a huge problem in any sort of other playlist around there. And it's a wonderful, wonderful addition to also get the competitive community more noticed. It's already hard enough to explain to people, out on the street that, hey, I compete online for Call of Duty, or I procast over professional Call of Duty games. How do you explain that to the average person? This is a nice middle ground. It's a nice way to slowly integrate the new people into how the competitive community works. And that's
Let me bounce this back a bit further. Actually, here's the thing: we're sitting in the community right now. The four of us who are talking, we all have Call of Duty channels on YouTube. We're all somewhat well known. We all have people who we can play with basically anytime we want to, but our subscribers don't. The simple fact of the matter was, when I first discovered YouTube videos about Call of Duty, I was actually one of Wings of Redemption's videos a couple of years ago, and the only person I played with in Call of Duty was my little brother. That was it. It was so tough because no one talked on mics. It was a whole different world. Over the years, I built a team. Today, as I look at people that are getting on, like watching my videos, they're asking how to build a team, how do they get this thing going. No one out there thinks about the game strategically. If you go to a pub game, they're guys who just bought their first, gaming system and are learning how to play this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But here's the thing: you go to the competitive playlist and you have a microphone, you can make friends that care about the game the way you care about the game, like that. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing because I mean, I genuinely mean this. Like, Huppet's great. There's a lot of great services out there that can get you a team. You can go comment on people's YouTube pages. You can connect with people in free-for-alls. But, dude, being able to go to a playlist that people are playing together is unheard of. It's brilliant. I love it. I think that's my next video. I'm going to talk about this. I'm dead serious. I'm super stoked to have my followers finally have an outlet for them to find their own team. People who think about the game the same way they do. That's it. Continue.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, we're all fluffing this playlist a lot because it's a fantastic idea. I wish we could get someone who was really against the idea. But
I agree.
Let's just go on. The main thing for me that gets me really, really jazzed is, yeah, it's the competitive playlist. It's fine. It's great. It's in there. But you also realize that before this, they didn't have the technology built in to remove perks from playlists, and now they do.
Right.
And the reason of that, the driving force behind that was that MLG settings couldn't be played with Flak Jacket and Second Chance. So they actually built code, and it's not like scripting that you do. It's actual code that they did title update, and people are missing that you can apply this to other playlists. Like in the future, you can create, a ghost-free playlist, a Second Chance-free playlist. And it boggles my mind that people are pissed that they actually made an MLG playlist, because this is the first time that in any Call of Duty that MLG, or specific, I'm saying MLG, but I mean competitive gaming in general, that competitive gaming has ever gotten a concession. I mean, this is Title Update 8, and they finally give us a little love, and there are people who are pissed that they didn't get love, but MLG did, because we're a comparatively smaller community.
Let's look at this really quick. I'm watching the stream as we're live streaming this right now. I'm watching the stream and I'm seeing what the feedback has been, and the feedback so far is basically that people are upset that people are using try-hard weapons like the FAMAS, the 74U. And I have to say this really quick.
God.
If you have a choice, and this is nothing negative against people who are try-hard haters. I understand that. Dude, I hate people who use the 74U just like anyone else, because I feel like I can't use it to save my life, but I die from it all the time. I use spitballs and a straw. That's it. But also known as the FAL. In all seriousness, though, guys, the thing you have to think about is that if you're going to go into a community that is really try-hard, it's okay to bring your try-hard pants yourself. Don't go in there and expect to rain hell with an Uzi. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. All right, so I don't know. I think it's a really good thing to have people that come in here with their best possible game. It's a way to challenge ourselves. And if you're taking the game so seriously, just don't go into that playlist. It's not that tough.
Here's another reason why I think some some big names hate the playlist already. They're used to grabbing a typical group of 6, going into a random playlist lobby, and getting ridiculous kills and making people rage quit all night. These same people may have or may not have joined the playlist, the new playlist, competitive playlist, and probably just got dookied on. Now,
I like that name.
Actually, I've been in there, and I've actually not been impressed by what I've seen. I mean, there are people who play competitively, but it's not like I'm getting shit on it. I'm a pub star, and I have a little competitive experience, but I'm not a great competitive player, and I'm leading the team. And
Yeah.
it seems to be like people who it's either a full team of 4 and you get shit on, or it's just people who are still trying to use flak jacket, which
I actually seen somebody use hardline.
Well, if me and my team go in, like if we go in as a team of 4, we usually try to go in and get another team of 4. Like if we join a lobby and it's just a dude sitting there with his mic plugged out, we'll just back out and restart it.
Huh.
so you guys are actually looking for competition when you go
Yeah.
into the playlist.
I can appreciate that. I think that's the way that the playlist should be played, is to try to find competition. Because honestly, setting up GB games takes way too much time.
I think that's a misconception. That's a big
That-
misconception.
Team
All right, well,
scrims
I
are
suck at
pretty easy to
GB,
grab.
so I suck at GB. So how's that?
In any
Yeah, if
given
you're hooked
t-
into the
yeah.
community,
Yeah, exactly.
GB is really easy to grab, or team scrims are really easy to grab. You just tweet, get one like right away.
All right.
If you're not in the community at all, though, it's very hard. I understand to get into a pickup game, and this is where that value lies.
Gotcha.
It's like a stepping stone into the competitive community. Like you'll meet people in there. If you do well, they'll invite you to play, and then it's just you go on your first date, and then eventually you get married.
I'm sitting here watching the stream, and I'm wondering if you guys are seeing the same thing I am. It looks like a lot of people are basically saying that they're recognizing that the competitive playlist is finding more competition than normal public matches. It may not be GB status or MLG status, but there is a considerable more amount of competition, and I think that's really cool to see. I mean, like I haven't even tried it that much yet myself, so hey.
Well, here's another thing. Like, if you're going to be going into the competitive playlist just to try it out or just to expand your gaming, it's going to be daunting at first. A lot of people are going to go in, maybe not have a good time, maybe not understand it, which is the big issue right now. Is a lot of people don't understand the competitive community.
Right.
Somebody sent me a message earlier saying, any competitive sport, you're going to be using all the same equipment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is that such a bad thing in the competitive gaming field? Why is it a bad thing to use the best gun available? I don't understand that. Maybe I don't know.
I think it actually makes it like more competitive because it says who's the best because you're all using the same thing. So then it really depends on who's smarter, who has the better shot.
Well, that's the important thing I think you keep in mind here is that if you're not using a FAMAS or I use Spectre Rapid Fire. That's my go-to gun. If you don't use a FAMAS or a Spectre Rapid Fire or something similar, what's the point basically? And actually, RMRFB, another YouTube commentator who's in the chat right now, just commented that connection plays a role here also, and I agree. But that's one of the beautiful things about Black Ops that it was not brought to us in previous Call of Duties is that we actually do have the option of searching locally. And no, it doesn't mean a 4-bar, but we could very well get a decent connection.
A lot of the connection issues, for the most part, I don't see a point in complaining about it anymore. I live in Canada, and it seems like I'm connecting to overseas all the time in every single game I connect to. And I've just gotten
Canada's
used
like forever away.
Exactly.
I think you're like further than the North Pole. Right? My geography is correct.
Pretty much.
It's just America's hat, man. Let's be clear.
So
anyway,
when I play Call of Duty, I already have to realize that my connection is not going to be good. I already have to compensate for that. I've stopped worrying about it, and I've just accepted it. And I think it's made me, a much better player, as well as when I do eventually go to LANs, it's a completely different game. But connection, yes, does play a little bit of an issue. As long as you're playing it smart and finding the right lobbies, I don't think it's a huge issue anymore. People might disagree, but do you guys find like when you join games that you're having mostly connection issues, or what's your biggest issue?
I've got a strong connection, so I pull host like pretty much every lobby I go into. eventually I'll pull host. But connection, it plays a big role. But if you're blaming your lack of success in connection, that's bullshit. There's a girl on I'm the coach of Team Fear female, and there's a girl on our team for a couple days. She was playing off her cell phone. She tethered her cell phone to her Xbox, and she was one barring and yellow barring, and she was still dropping kills, and she was still beasting.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
her strategy was to, like, if she knew someone was around the corner, she'd pre-fire like the whole time because she knew she couldn't rely on her connection.
Wow.
And you learn to adapt. One girl on our team, Roxy, plays on a perpetual 2-bar, perpetual 3-bar, and she'll live stream too at the same time. Sometimes she'll still do well. It's
Wow.
connection. It matters. It definitely means like you're not doing as well as you should be, but that just means when you get to land, you kick ass because
Yeah.
you've been running in the ocean with weights the whole time.
So I have another major topic that I kind of want to bring up here. And this was a fairly well voiced opinion that I kind of want to set straight. And I quote, MLG is already dead. Why would anyone try to focus on a dead community? Now, I don't know the exact 100% exact stream numbers, but in MLG Dallas, if I'm anywhere close to correct, 1.5 million people tuned in throughout the weekend.
And the stream is messed up.
To me, 1.5 million people watching a competitive Call of Duty game, competitive Halo game, it's all under the same community. You can't call that dead. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
And I have to admit, man, I would not watch it simply because Holiday Doc was not hosting. It wasn't worth it to me to watch. So.
If I wasn't there and playing, I wouldn't even watch it because of no Holiday Doc.
Touche.
But no, it is actually a 1.5 million viewers over the weekend, 600,000 unique viewers, and
Wow.
MLG just raised $10 million in venture capital funding back in December for a total funding of like 52.5 million.
Wow.
So
Dang.
there's money there. There's behind it. It's growing. MLG is not dead.
MLG is far
Oh,
from
no
dead,
way.
and it is only on the increase. As more people start to realize that there's more to simply paying for your Xbox Live subscription and playing a game a year, and you're able to actually take your skills and face off against other people in a competitive background, competitive field, it's only going to get better and better.
I agree. I agree for sure.
Yeah, and this is good for Black Ops as a whole. I mean, Black Ops has sold like, I don't know, 20 million copies worldwide, upwards of that. And it's the smallest MLG event because this is the first time it's been on the pro circuit.
Mhm.
Halo is a single platform game and the numbers are less, but the prize pool at Halo is double that of MLG because there are more sponsors, because there are more people who play MLG Halo.
It's
also
been out for how many years now?
I think
Right.
since Halo 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has. It has.
So the following there is big, and a big thing from Halo 3 was the MLG playlist. People get introduced to the idea of competitive Halo through organic means, and they check it out and they play it. So they're not like completely lost when they're watching MLG Halo. They have some semblance of an idea of what's going on, and that's not the true with Call of Duty. Unless you've been playing competitive for a while, it's very confusing about what is going on.
I think that's one thing that MLG is definitely striving to change for this next event. I know they're doing some host changes up at the event for next time. I'm not sure who's going to be put in place of Iceman, but anything they can do to improve the viewer experience is going to be beneficial, and I think we just need to give it time. But I do have another quote that I'd like to get your guys' opinion on. And then this is a direct quote from another popular YouTuber. And it goes,
Wait, can we use these quotes? We're not supposed to do that, right?
I don't see why not.
Just don't mention any names.
Yeah, no names. No names. Mention quotes. Quotes should be fine.
Quotes should be
I mean,
fine.
we're not bad mouthing anybody here. We're just sharing differing opinions.
This is
Absolutely.
This is a civil debate on different people's opinions and different people's vantage points on what they're viewing. So
absolutely, go for it.
So you don't have to be smarter to play this playlist, quote unquote. You just have to play like a bitch.
Oh,
Now, I can see where if you're stuck in, a cycle of playing the game, you log on every day, you go into a typical playlist and you play that day in, day out, day in and day out. When you try to move to something else, and you don't have if you didn't research it, you didn't, look into it, you can't really make a viable opinion. And when people are creating these comments for their viewers, for their viewers, it's really leading people like blindly. And I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm just gonna
here's
leave
the
it at
thing you
that.
have to keep in mind, guys. Let's back this down. You don't have to play like a bitch. That's he's saying you don't have to play well. You have to play like a bitch. Okay, here's the thing to think about. Whenever you get the new map pack, all right, when the last map pack came out in Black Ops, when the map packs came out in Modern Warfare 2, we all did the exact same thing. Now, if you guys remember, I actually have my first games on every map saved because I think they're really interesting to watch. I look around like an idiot. I move slowly from cover to cover. I think really, really carefully about what I'm going to do next. I'm really cautious. Now, with that in mind, yeah, some people who know these maps well, they do play a little over carefully because they're trying to be badass. And when you're trying to be badass, you're not going to be badass. It's all there is to it, right? Unless you're MLG Pro legit like Brandon is. But, with that in mind, I mean, a lot of guys who are getting those MLG playlists, they are playing in a campish, annoying manner, perhaps. But it's largely simply because they don't quite know what they're doing.
Well, so here's the thing: like competitive COD is basically a different game type than regular Call of Duty.
Absolutely.
If you play hardcore, let's say hardcore search and destroy, the same way you play regular search and destroy, you're not going to do as well. You have to play it like what it was supposed to be. Same way, if you play core domination, like team deathmatch, you're not going to be successful at the game.
Yeah.
Because it's an entirely different game type.
Here's one thing that I can prove without a doubt. If you were to look at any of the top 8 matches at MLG Dallas, there's not a single point where a player stood in a spot longer than 5 seconds. It's not how the game is played. The game is played at that level very strategically. People are moving to certain parts of the map all the time. They're floating from one point to another, not crossing certain lines, trying to stay out of certain areas. And it's not a camping game. It's so far from a camping game. It just doesn't make any sense to me how you could even go about starting to call it that. So
yeah, and then you go into a regular pub match, and there's a guy sitting in a corner with a radar with Ghost on.
Yeah,
he's sitting there posted up for 2 minutes.
it just seems.
I don't want
silly.
to turn this into competitive versus public because I don't think
that's not the point at all.
Yeah.
This is good overall for the community, whether for introducing people to competitive, getting Black Ops to be a bigger feature on the MLG circuit, or just the technology alone. Now they have the ability to take out perks and attachments.
Exactly. If
you're a pub player, just look at that.
Dude, can you guys imagine? Just imagine with me for 1 second here. Imagine the perfect playlist, and let's just play this out together in our minds right now. Demolition, 9v9, on jungle, with no second chance and no ghost.
How is Demolition your perfect player?
How is 9v9?
Dude, because I can lock people down and destroy the snot out of people on that map. And 9v9 with no second chance and no ghost guarantees a 300+ game for me.
That's
Here's
just
my ideal playlist.
I'm trying to go into a
combat training.
Let's get spawn killed.
Combat training, recruit level bots, 1v9 with XP, and they all send me hate messages after.
There you go.
That's what I want. Can we make that happen?
I just want to go back and just touch on what Fuzzy said. The technology is a benefit for the whole community. If they can halfway through the game take out certain perks that maybe looked good on paper, but through the life cycle of the game didn't turn out to be so good, this will benefit everybody. Well, yeah. And even if we were to look at Modern Warfare 2, if Modern Warfare 2 had the ability to change their perks, don't you think they would change the one-man army to not allow you to recoup and re-equip all of your noob tubes and claymores?
Oh my lord, yes.
That's a huge example of what this technology could do for the following COD series, even for this game's life cycle. This is still a very brand new game. Call of Duty has not been on the competitive circuit for very long, and anything we can do to help the game in general is going to benefit everybody.
Absolutely.
Oh, let's address one point that actually I think that is sort of like a feeling of tension within the people who don't play competitive. They're saying that Treyarch bent over backwards to make a playlist for a small subset of the community. So they're saying MLG is a small community, and
Well,
I think competitive is obviously bigger.
They already
but
have the playlist for everybody else.
Yeah.
The rest of the
let's hit on
community
this
is already taken care of. So
in a
I don't
different way,
understand.
though. In a different way, though. Look at it this way. And we talked about this in the pregame, the pre-chat, but this is actually really kind of important. Like GB, the whole community at Game Battles, the whole community in MLG, are probably the most vocal community back at the game manufacturer of any community in the world. I mean, there's no NoobTuber factory that's talking about how they miss having one-man army. There are a ton of GB stars who are like, I want something better. That's what they do. We are really, really, vocal about our opinions, and we're obnoxious, and we're tech savvy enough to blow up their Twitter account. So it's what we do.
I want to give this back to Justin, though. We cut him off a couple times.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
Bastards. Actually, no, I completely forget where I was going.
Oh, no.
Oh, anyway, okay, let's.
So you're talking about the tech and how it is going to appeal
Tech,
and
yeah.
help with everybody.
So it didn't exist before this. They said that they couldn't. My understanding when I talked to David Vonderhaar at Dallas was they didn't have the ability to disable perks. So this playlist actually is a huge surprise to me because I thought it was just going to be, no offense, Mr. Vonderhaar, if you're listening, half-assed because I thought they were going to have perks in there and just sort of, yeah.
Like what he told us, he said it was going to be on the honor system that they were going to state what rules were that you couldn't use perks, but since they couldn't disable them, they were just going to hope that no one actually used them.
Oof.
Yeah.
That would have been
Bad
pure
news
folly.
bears.
Yeah. But so that they actually went through and made this technology, and so you can think of this as like a beta testing ground because you wouldn't want to roll this out in like a big team deathmatch because that affects multiple thousands of people. This is a smaller subset just because of the game type and whatever that is. So think of this as like a beta test, and once they figure this out and they iron out all the kinks in disabling a perk because they've never done this before in any Call of Duty. Once they do that, there's really no reason they can't just roll out a playlist that takes care of Ghost.
Or monthly, or, like the idea was spotted, have a monthly poll or something. And whatever playlist that people are looking for, they rotate. They go through, they create a user base, feedback. And the one that gets the most feedback, obviously, maybe, obviously with some tweaks, might get implemented.
You know what I want right now? I really, really want a camera spike only marathon lightweight. That would be so awesome.
Like Ernest Lee, he's in the stream.
Oh, he is in the stream. Yeah, man, we do that all the time. It's awesome.
Well, I've got 1 minute before the wife comes downstairs and freaks out. Oh, we should just wait to see what she does. I think it'll be funny.
Actually, yeah, I'm interested in hearing that.
If she actually comes down in 1 minute, I will high five you in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's just keep this going for a minute. Okay. Maybe we should cut the show and then we'll just include this as a bonus. But I mean, does anyone else have any closing arguments?
Oh, I mean, what I like to say what I don't like about it, there's like probably two things. The one thing I don't like is how people can quit and then there be no penalty for quitting. Like they can just quit and just start up another game.
True.
Agreed.
Because I can't tell you how many times we just go in and like one person leaves and it's just 3-on-4 and it's really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they need some kind of like system of if you leave a certain amount of games and you get timed out for like 30 minutes or an hour or something like that.
We've been talking about that since when the game came out. Honestly, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a huge thing.
I hope they have that like across the game. I think that's a feature in Call of Duty, like it is in Halo.
Yeah,
and what happens in Halo exactly?
Now.
If you leave too many games, you get timed out for 10 minutes,
okay.
15 minutes, and then eventually.
That seems fair to me.
Yeah. It's whether you dashboard or not.
Do we have any viewer comments, questions, anything we can, reach out and try to explain? Anybody may have questions?
They disabled the spinning while planting trick in
Oh,
for all the bomb type games.
Here's
Sharp.
here, yeah,
Yeah.
Sharp, and I think you can agree with me on this. This is going to change the way that Search and Destroy is played completely. You know,
They've also
Uh-huh.
changed the round timer to 90 seconds from 2.5 minutes.
Yep.
Already changed it, which
Yeah.
is phenomenal, I think.
I would. It's. I know we're not allowed to talk about a lot of things, and I think I should just leave it at that. But there is a lot of changes in the works for MLG and the MLG rule set and everything like that. I know Search and Destroy is looking for a huge facelift to try and make it more action packed. As a commentator, when you get a Search and Destroy game against two teams that maybe are sticking to the same spots for the majority of the game, it is really hard to keep it flowing and keep it interactive for the viewers. One thing
Yeah.
that a lot of people are looking to see is a more action packed Search and Destroy game. And I think with some changes that are in the works, and obviously with the 90-second round time update that you know they've updated us with, I think there's a lot of opportunity to make it a really great game type.
I think so too. Black Ops S&D is horribly
Yeah.
boring.
I really don't like the bomb. I don't like
Spinning
it
while
at
playing.
all.
You,
Well, no, I just
you,
don't like how it makes a noise the whole entire time while you're planning. There's no way to
To counter
really
it,
get a plan off.
yeah, and I think it's going to create more of an urgency to get the kills before the plant, or even for that matter, have a secure setup on the bomb plant before being able to even have an opportunity to plant, because like with a powerful headset, I can sit 30, 40, 50 feet away, have a semi view on bomb, wait to hear the little beep, 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 turn around and pull a shot off. And it's frustrating. So,
Yeah.
well,
And then
the challenge there too, though, if you're going to try to, especially if you're on offense, you're trying to set up on a bomb, you have to have at least half your team in play. You can't have half your team, really 2/3 of your team have to be in play on bomb. You can't have them in any other defensive position away to keep the team from getting to the bomb. You have to have them in play on bomb.
mhm.
It's I think it breaks the game in some ways, at least the way we currently know how to play it.
but now you can do sneak plants or sorry, fake plants and fake diffuses. Because
Right.
before, if you heard the bomb, you're like, okay, well, clearly this guy is either an idiot or he's obviously faking. Like at an MLG level, you're gonna be like, this guy's clearly faking because
Right.
everybody spins.
yeah,
So I think there's gonna be a little more strategy in that particular aspect.
I
I
agree.
just I just wish they'd bring back the rattling of the chain noise. I think that was the best. Because I mean, you could fake, you could throw a stun up in the air and then pick up the bomb, and then the stun blows up, and they would think that you're faking or doing something. I don't know. I just don't like especially if you're diffusing, how they can hear it the whole time. Like I just know, take Havana for instance. The hotel building where B bomb is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just plan it and I lay up top, and then if I hear now, I can just wait until. If they're diffusing the bomb, if I don't like hear him pressing the buttons, I know he's not on the bomb. I'm just gonna be watching the door the whole time.
Right.
But before you had to jump down and actually look.
True. You had to
That's a
have
good
an eye
point.
on the bomb, always.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be Sound Horde City.
Well, I think this was a really good discussion. We covered a
So too.
lot of different angles. We answered a lot of different questions. I hope to maybe viewers and people that maybe weren't educated enough to realize why this is such a benefit for the whole community, not just the competitive side. Um, Crazy Nose asked about Sabo. Sabotage. I just want to finish this
So
off.
Sabotage has smaller numbers than the competitive playlist currently.
Agreed.
Yeah,
It
much
actually
much
does. Like,
much
you
smaller.
can look at it.
All right, guys, that was great. I appreciate the invite, and thank you to all the people who are watching this later too. I think this is a really worthwhile subject to keep in mind because this is definitely one of those things that we want to be watching what the gaming community, especially what the gaming companies, do with playlists that support their gamers, whether they're MLG status or they're pub stars, they're pub non-stars, doesn't matter. We need to make sure that it's kind of a blessing to see us all supported in our own way. So yeah, this has been good, guys.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. And I just want to restate this was just a healthy discussion on other people's viewpoints and opinions, and there was no personal attacks whatsoever. It was
Amen.
simply just breaking down things that were said and trying to clear up the confusion and misconceptions of the competitive side of things. So that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in. Fuzzy, thanks for hosting the live stream. Much appreciated.
Of course.
And
For
Sharp,
bringing up the topic idea.
Sharp, thanks for being pro.
Thanks for having me on here.
Yep, and I'm out of here.